This is my video review of the KWA FMG9. Selling it today, so I'm just going to make a video of it. Got a couple things to say about it. Some good, some bad. I'm just going to kind of go over it. First of all, to open it, you're going to see the charging handle right here. I like to hold it by the handle, just press back with my thumb, and its own weight's going to pull it open. We're going to start at the muzzle. When it comes from the box, it has this enormous orange tip. It goes back to about here. When you fold it up, it ruins the look of a sleek black box. So I took mine off, and it was a pain. It took a lot of sanding, a lot of repainting, and a lot of cleaning up. There's still a lot of little flakes of orange. Once you get under the orange paint, there's a layer of this like yellowy white primer that just adheres to the plastic. And it's a pain to get off. Your muzzle is actually an extended Glock barrel, because the insides of the gun are basically a Glock slide. So they put an extended barrel, gives you a little bit more barrel length, but it's still pretty short. You have basically a finger guard here, so you know when you're holding this, it doesn't actually slip up from the muzzle. If you have that problem, you probably shouldn't be using this gun, but it's there. You have a collapsing foregrip. I personally like to hold it behind. But if you have a small hand, you might be able to hold that in front. Either way. What else? Right behind the muzzle, you have these not well engraved. It's plastic, but it's a inlaid Magpul-esque logo. Instead of saying FMG9 with a real gun, it says FPG, folding pocket gun. I think that's pretty retarded. As far as I'm concerned, it's an FMG9. To me, Airsoft is a simulation in real life. It's an FMG9. You call it by the Airsoft name, you're a faggot. Just saying. The charging handle can be switched between the left and right hand side of the gun. You just have to disassemble it, turn it over, and put it on the other side. It's not that hard. The charging handle is pretty slim, and it's well tucked away, so it doesn't actually catch on things a lot. The top handle is removable. You just lift up on the spring-loaded bar, it slides right off. You can attach anything. I actually had Magpul folding sights on here, and the plastic matches between this gun and all of Magpul's products because this is Magpul licensed. And I think the folding sights added a lot to the folding design of the gun, so you could flip the gun open and then flip the sights up, and it would just completely mindfuck people. Alright, your carrying handle has really rudimentary iron sights. You get a notch rear and post front. They're all part of the handle. Nothing's adjustable. Then again, this whole gun isn't actually designed for accuracy. It's designed to flip open and rape the shit out of someone before you fold it back up again for dramatic effect. You have the slide stop here. It's in the same spot as the Glock 17, 18, 19, 21, 23, any Glock pistol. It's the same style. It's actually an interchangeable lever because when mine came out of the box, this lever didn't work. So I took this FMG apart, and I took apart a Glock 17 I had lying around that I never used, and I installed the piece. It was a pain. There were a lot of little springs, a lot of little levers, but I installed it, and now... Okay, so it's not perfect. Wait a second here. Okay, when the follower's in place, it's going to catch. My bad. Alright, so basically it's going to work like that. Basically, the insert in the of the gun can be accessed by pressing this lever here. Sometimes it likes to come open on its own, but press it in, and hinge open the gun. Inside you can see you have a Glock 18 style slide. Before you ask, yes, it is compatible with the Glock 17 slide and frame in terms of internal parts and adding this to a Glock 17. However, there are no iron sights, and the fire selector is really slimmed down because it's designed to fit into this gun. I did it on my Glock 17 to see if it would work, and it's really rough. It doesn't really want to go on there. So I wouldn't recommend you trying to buy this and then try and turn your Glock 17 into a Glock 18. It doesn't really work out that well. But most of the parts are interchangeable. I actually took a broken return spring from a Glock 17 and put it in here to raise the rate of fire. And it actually works pretty good. Now to reinstall your top piece, you gotta get the far side nub hooked up, and then just flex the body over the near side nub, then hinge it back down, pull on it, make sure it's secure. Sometimes this lever doesn't like to catch all the way because the plastic on plastic friction doesn't like to close. Back here is your cheek piece. I wouldn't say it's completely necessary, but it's what helps lock the stock out, because without it, your stock just falls. Going back to the fire selector, before I forget, to change your fire mode in this gun. When I first bought it, it was on semi, and it was one of the first ones that came to the country, actually, when it first came out. The guy who was selling it was a KWA dealer, and he goes, yeah, this is the first one I've gotten, and the factory's only sending me one, and I'm selling it for like $360 or something, and I was like fresh out of basic, I had a lot of money, so I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm going to buy that. And it didn't come with a manual, so I didn't know how to change a fire selector on it. And there are no videos up on the internet on how to do it yet, so I got out in the field and I went to go light a kid up, and I didn't know it was on semi, it only fired one shot. It freaked me out, I thought it was semi only. But it turns out, what you need to do is lift the cheek piece, drop your stock. Pull in the charging handle, and this is a pain, it's not exactly user friendly. You charge it to the rear and lock your slide back. On this side you're going to be able to see your exposed fire selector. Now another problem I had, also not having a manual, is right here. Down you see 2 engraved dots, up you see 1 engraved dot, but in the middle is this really nice position it likes to click into. Call it safe if you will, but it also, sometimes when you're not looking in the heat of a game, it feels like it's clicked down into the 2nd position. But when you do this, you can charge it all day, nothing happens. So, I've gotten killed a few times in game because I wasn't aware that it was in the middle position, not the desired up or down position. So make sure it clicks firmly in. Alright. There are a lot of little catches on this gun that help it fold up. I wouldn't say be gentle with it, but just be aware of what you're touching at what time. If you're wearing big, heavy combat gloves, they might accidentally hit a lever. They're pretty tucked away, it's a good design, but once in a while you'll hit this catch and your whole pistol grip will swing forward or something. Just be aware of it. Get used to it, fiddle with it before you take it to a game, so that way you're aware of how it handles, how it works. And back here is your stock. It's completely hollow, it's very light. You can put your hand all the way up inside it. There's nothing really special about it. Your magazine release is in the same spot as a Glock pistol. When you remove your magazine, you can access the insides of the gun. Like, for instance, holding that helps you reach the bottom of the bolt carrier. Or not a bolt carrier, I'm used to gas blowback rifles. The bottom of the air nozzle assembly inside the slide. Which is really useful for maintenance, because you can't do that on most pistols without taking the slide off, what else? Oh yeah, these pins right here in the stock like to come out a lot. They have like a knurled section on them to help them stay in, but the gun firing likes to screw with it and make them pop out a little bit. I haven't lost them, they haven't come out very far, but just be aware that you need to tap them back into place every now and then. Fold the gun back up, start here, press your finger into this little depression, you'll see it, I mean, right in there. It's easy. Press your finger in and it's going to automatically push away the stop and your grip will fold up. Flip it over into your left hand. With your right hand, depress the catch at the back of the pistol grip. Pull out of the magazine ever so slightly and then hinge the grip forward. As you slide it forward, push the magazine high up into the well until it stops. This will help the base plate of the magazine clear the front guard. Once that's in place, grip the whole thing with the left hand, lift up on the cheek piece, and swing the stock forward, and it's completely folded up. I have to say that you need to have magazines with this base plate. I got this extended mag for Glock, and it came with this big, bulky, stupid piece of shit at the bottom, and it's obviously useful only for feeding the gun ammunition when it's flipped open, and in a combat situation, use this as your combat reload magazine if you're going to buy these. But if you want to fold it up and keep it folded up, you got to have a slim base plate. Speaking magazines, you can fit any Glock magazine in there, provided you remove the base plate if it's a shorter magazine. For instance, a Glock 17 magazine just barely fits, but you need to remove the base plate to get that to clear all the way into the magazine well. You could fit a Glock 23 mag, it's just going to have to remove the base plate and push it way up there with your finger. Why you'd want one, I don't know. And shorter magazines also prevent it from flipping open, because the weight of the magazine is what helps the gun flip into the proper position and lock everything open without you having to manually, okay, I'll finish it off. If you flip it open without a magazine in it, for instance, the pistol grip doesn't come all the way out. In terms of performance, it's not bad. I used it in a couple of games. It's mostly scare factor. The trick is when you're loading up and you get all these kids around who are like loading up their stuff, just make sure they know that you have this. Flip it open 5 or 6 times so they're tracking on what the sound is. And that way when they're inside a building or something and you pop up outside and you go, it gives them that little bit of scare factor. They don't know how bad it might shoot or how good it might shoot. They're just going to hear that. They're going to think Modern Warfare 3 and then they're going to run. It's happened before. It's fun. I just never use this gun anymore, so I haven't gotten to enjoy that for a while. And then I'll just give you an idea of the rate of fire. If you give me a second, we can grab a tank of propane. Where the hell is it? There you are. Right. Alright, we'll start out on semi. So you get an idea of the function. Damn it. See how much of a bitch this is? It's a fun gun, but just keep it on one fire mode. Again, make sure it clips. Clicks into place past the center position. It's almost going to feel like you're breaking it, and then you're going to hear that click, and you're like, oh, okay, it's semi now. We can hold the slide stop down. Has even less recoil than a regular gas blowback pistol because you're bracing it against your shoulder. So pretty much you're just getting noise. There's a little bit, I mean, you're not bracing it, but there's really nothing to it. The trigger pull is very short, so you can do a really nice controlled pair like I was just doing. And then for unholy rape mode, once you're, whoops, shit. Again, you're not going to be doing this in the heat of the game. Chances are you're going to be shooting this in full auto anyway. That's the way most people in Airsoft are. Not me, but most people. Alright, and full auto. Alright, that's running out of gas, but you get the idea. You'll get a whole 48 round magazine out. Try to avoid going completely cyclic, which would be just mashing the trigger down like people love to do in Airsoft. Because gas guns, I think, a cooldown effect is basically, I mean, you can't feel this mag right now, but it's ice cold because the rapid release of gas, it's in a liquid form under pressure. When it's rapidly released, that liquid condenses really quick as it shoots out the top nozzle, chills the magazine, and basically the whole gun cools down. When metal cools down, it pretty much contracts. When gas cools down, the particles contract, you get less gas compression, or less gas pressure, is what I'm trying to say. You get less gas pressure, that's why the gun sputters out faster. So if you're going to shoot, do it in small controlled bursts, 3 to 5 rounds for your average rate, maybe 7 to 9 if you're a little bit more panicky and trying to get your target. But if you just mash the trigger down, it's going to sputter out really quick. So just be aware of that as well if you're getting into full automatic gas guns. As for cleaning, again, with all gas guns, you got to clean them or they're going to break. Like yesterday, I was at a game and a kid's brand new KWA MP9 was all jacked up because he hadn't cleaned it, and there was a BB jammed in there above the bolt carrier, and it was just filthy, and the full auto sear was wedged down because there was so much grit in there. It's just, as parts move, stuff flakes off and gets into that gunky factory lube. Anyway, so first step is really clearing your weapon. I know mine's clear because I've cleared it about 25 times prior to the video. But just lock your slide to the rear, look into the ejection port, make sure there's nothing in there. Magazine's out, it can't go off, but it's just treated like a real gun anyway. Drop your hammer. You know it's not, I'm not going to fire, but you pull down on these takedown catches right here. And it's a pain. It does not like to come out because you got to depress both of them at the same time. And unlike the Glock 17, there it's this obnoxious. Oh, that's right. Not bad. I haven't used this for a while. When you lock your slide to the rear, you got to set that fire selector to the middle position, right there. Then when you release your slide, it's going to come out. And basically inside you have a Glock 17 slide, a Glock 18 slide with no sights and an extended barrel. The barrel doesn't really extend that much farther. It only comes out to about there. So again, it's even shorter barrel than an MP5 or any other carbine, even though it looks like a submachine gun because it's got a stock. Basically inside you have the guts of the Glock of a Glock frame. Clean them out. Use a Q-tip. Don't use silicone spray, it's going to melt plastic. Use silicone oil. Just kind of put it on all the metal parts. If you see silver, that means there's metal on metal contact, and that's a contact point. There's going to be a lot of friction, so make sure you oil anything that's silver. Make sure all these little pins in the side are flush. They're centered. That way they're not falling out. Make sure your slide stop can move up and springs back down again under its own power, because that little spring right there, which is a bitch if you're trying to remove it, which I had to. I guess I can mention there's a serial number on here. Little data plate right there. It holds basically the bottom of the takedown and catch. That's really it. I mean, the rest of it, I mean, this part weighs nothing. It's just a giant piece of plastic. But, so I mean, it's solid. It's Magpul licensed. They're not going to put their name on something shitty. Okay, basically once you're done cleaning all this stuff out and everything's working, make sure when you put your spring guide back in that it's up against that little stop block right there and it's completely horizontal. Then you're just going to line the rails up the back of your slide, and once I manage to do that, there we go. And just run it onto the gun, lock the slide into the rear position, double check that your air nozzle's properly tucked away, and then release it forward again. It's going to stop against the takedown switch, so you're good. Now, again, don't forget to take it off this mode, or your trigger's going to do that, which is half the reason that's happened to me in game. I go to clean my gun, and I completely forget to put it back on one of the two fire modes. Then you just take your top cover, reinstall. Okay, but while I have it off, inside you can see the charging handle assembly. I mean, it's a bitch. I don't want to take it apart, but basically, you push this catch until it comes out of there. Take your whole assembly and basically pull it out. You bring your charging handle, kind of like if you've ever done this with a SCAR. You pull this all the way back to that catch there, and this little depression. Then you can pull it out, flip it over, put it on the other side. You'll figure it out really quick. There we go. Alright, now you just take this. You got one catch. Wish I could do this the other way. There we go. Come on. Alright, there we go. And that concludes my review of the KWA FMG9.